Hey everyone, welcome to Payments After Dark. My name's Michael Wright. I have with me today Giorgio from Lumino. Really excited to talk to him about where the payments industry is going, what he's built. And Giorgio, thanks for taking some time with us today.
I'm glad to be here.
Let's start. I know, like a lot of us, you did not start in payments. You were in cash management, lead gen, marketing. Walk us through how you stumbled on the industry.
Yeah, no, I'd love to give you the background story here. So yeah, I've been in payments for over a decade. I started in cash management, as you mentioned. I work for a corporate company called Loomis Armored, and it's kind of like Brinks, armored truck companies, guys with the big guns. Uh, that was that
Was
was
that
me.
you?
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
me.
you got the vest on and everything, and
I was not driving the trucks, but I was generating leads and running the marketing department there.
okay.
I actually started working as an intern there and worked my way up to run the marketing department um, at Loomis. And yeah, my boss was the executive VP of sales and marketing. He reported to the CEO. So very early on, I got some exposure to the corporate life and the corporate ladder. And yeah, it was a great time spent there, learning a little bit about how the economy really works. And sort of my perspective on money was kind of ruined after I walked in a few billion-dollar vaults full of
Wow.
cash. Yep.
Dang.
Yep. So started my own business just in e-commerce on the side while I was
Yeah.
working at Loomis, and that gave me some good exposure to what was going on and sort of in the Shopify e-commerce space.
Mhm.
And and that made me realize that I was really good at marketing after all my experience and time at Loomis. And through that, after a year and a half of running that business, decided to go and do it full time. And that led me to starting a marketing agency, which focused specifically in the bar and restaurant hospitality space,
Okay.
which was great. It's a good time being able to help bars and nightclubs launch and grow their business. So I got to spend a lot of late nights in the nightclubs.
That's
So
not too bad, I guess, you know?
yeah,
Yeah,
there was some
it's
perks
fun
to it.
mixed in.
But yeah, anyways, that gave me some good exposure to the hospitality space. COVID, as it did everybody else, kind of put a dent in the business. But 2019, right before COVID, I had gone to the Super Bowl that through my e-commerce business kind of led me to somehow end up in the same room with some of the executives at Fiserv, Frank and Fossey. They were great hosts. Met these guys. They were stand-up guys. Told me, what they were doing, and told me a little bit about the credit card processing industry. And I had no idea what the credit card processing industry was at the time, or that you could even be in it. And and they told me how lucrative it was to be in the space. And I said, you know what, sign me up. So these guys were gracious enough to set my friend and his colleague, who's an NFL athlete, up with their own ISO office directly into Fiserv, and I sold as an agent through them. So got some great experience. Got a chance to, luckily get some good feedback directly from some pretty high ups in the industry and worked through a couple of sales offices that had some really good experience in the space. And I built a pretty decent sized portfolio while I was doing some other things on the side and still running my digital marketing agency.
Mhm.
And that led me to, really that I knew it was really lucrative. I knew that there was a big opportunity in this industry, but I really didn't want to be the one going door to door, or I didn't want to
Right.
be generating the leads myself. And due to the situation that happened in COVID, a lot of the bars and restaurants that I had as clients actually ended up closing down. And that led me to start doing marketing for a lot of online business owners, e-commerce, online courses and consultants and coaching. And I kind of had an idea to, I said, hey, I really think I could teach other people how to sell. I could create a program around this, and I could launch a sales office around this course. After kicking the idea around for about 2 years and kind of like struggling and failing to launch, I finally purchased an online coaching program myself that taught me how to successfully launch my own offer. And
Okay.
so I stuck with that program, literally started it from nothing and reinvested every single dollar that I made.
Yeah.
And in about 18 months, I was doing multiple six figures a month selling that online coaching program. I
Wow.
was recruiting anywhere between 15 to 30 agents a month. And we got to about 150 agents within the ISO office.
Wow.
We partnered with Maverick, Fiserv, Nuve, Shift4, and a few others, and built a pretty robust portfolio with my agents.
Hmm.
Um, Through that coaching program, again, I sold millions of dollars in online coaching through that, and realized how lucrative that space was itself.
Yeah.
And that led me to find opportunities with other online coaches in the industry, which which again put me on to selling more higher risk type solutions.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
after about a year and a half of selling all sorts of solutions, I realized we had put together the best offer in the industry, white labeled. Essentially, we taught agents how to sell, and then I realized, well, hey, I want to create a brand out of this, right? I had the Ascension coaching program, but I really wanted to create my own software.
Ah.
So what I did was I took the best white label solutions in the industry from, my partners at Maverick, which we white labeled, to Accept Blue. Great people in Gateway Accept Blue allow us to white label that. Hyphen, shout out to Hyphen. These guys are phenomenal, phenomenal
Mhm.
software. Um, so essentially, we did what I call white labeling from application all the way to invoicing. I had what I would consider the best white label solution on the market, and we sold that for quite some time
Mhm.
until we decided to really start going after the development of our own intellectual property.
Okay.
Obviously, you can't sell a course forever.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
obviously there's step one is like sell a course. Step two is like build a back end offer you can exit. And that was the residual book that I was building. And then
Mhm.
step three was like, okay, I want to really build enterprise value. So I figured, well, the only way to really do that is to develop our own intellectual property around the software. And that's where Lumino was born. That white label solution I call Lumino 1.0. And over the
Yeah.
last 6 to 7 months, we've been building what I'm calling Lumino 2.0.
And that's amazing. I want to dive into Lumino. Let's back up here for a second because I want to dive into some of these things that got you to what you learned from this journey that kind of pushed you forward into that next step. So, you brought all this experience into the coaching module, which actually turned into a great, way to build an ISO for you. So what are the things, I think there's a lot of people out there who know payments very well, but can attract, a lot of agents that say, "Hey, this is really helping me. This is really building a book." And I think the difference with what you built from when we talked is you had agents that were really making money from this. You had successful agents that were building a book, that were making a residual every month, significant residual.
Yep.
What are some of the pain points or, operational efficiencies that you highlighted in your course that you think really stuck with those agents?
Yeah. Yeah. Great question. So, yeah, to your point, one of our most successful agents, his best month was $50,000 in
Ooh,
residual.
that's a good.
So, I mean, that would be a good sales office's
Yeah,
numbers
right.
in this space, right? So he did extremely well just through some of the methods that we taught, and even through his own methods. Fantastic, fantastic guy. And then secondly is, what are some of the solutions that we sort of taught in our course. And I think that the biggest pain points that we find is people just struggle with lead generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing is where's my Lexus lead coming from? And it, you know, sales is there's a lot of different strategies that you can take to go about. And I'm not gonna lie, I mean, this is a difficult, very saturated industry. You still have, I mean, people selling traditional payment processing while you have solutions where you can instant onboard online, right? So it's a tough industry unless you're selling the right solutions.
Mm,
And most sales offices fail to create good agent programs just because they aren't selling the right solutions, right? Or they're reselling somebody else's solutions. You know, if you are, for example, reselling Maverick or reselling Lucra or something of that nature, you may only be stuck within the solution that they have to offer, right? For
mm,
example, a big thing for us was that Maverick never had point of sale solutions that they sold, right? So I was like, unless you were really selling just like a basic terminal, there was really not much card present that we were doing through the Maverick solution. So what I find is that you got to find if you're an independent agent, there are reasons why you would want to work with a sales office, right? A lot of people say, well, I could just go direct, and why would I ever work with a sales office? Well, a lot of people, agents mainly, they're good at selling, right? But
mm.
they may not be good at relationship management with the processor. They may not want to do their reconciliation. They may not want to build a team. Just because you're good at sales doesn't mean you're good at sales management or business or running a business or marketing or lead generation, right?
Right.
So it's important to find the structure that works for you.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, prime example, our top rep. I mean, he's made more money some months than I have,
Yeah.
right?
Crazy how
Or
that works
or
sometimes.
more months, more than the bottom 9 out of 10 of the top 10 people combined, So
Mhm.
it goes to show that with the right structure and the right attitude, you can really work wonders. And realistically, when it comes to an agent and the struggles at ISO offices, it's all the same. I've always heard the same thing. It's lead generation, right?
Mm.
You can get a couple good deals per month if you're going, one to one, but how are you really building a consistent pipeline that's predictable day after day, month after month? And I mean, for example, you've been there with your time
Yes.
and payment cloud, right?
Yes.
I mean, unless the phone's ringing nonstop, um, it can be a struggle to find your next deal, right? But as you know as well, it's expensive to start up, right? And then there's a lag on when they start processing and when you're going to start getting paid and when you're going to recover. I mean, if you don't have $100,000 at least cash, you know, to start up in this business, you're really not going to make it unless you're an independent agent with a game plan.
Right. And I think that brings up some good points. It's none of these other things matter if you don't have leads coming in the door, right? That is the crux of this entire thing. And a lot of people don't have $100,000 coming in the door.
Yep.
How do you tell your agents to focus their time or methods to get that funnel of leads coming in? I mean,
Yeah.
I know a lot of it is about focus, right? Do what you do well, leverage your network, but you know, that only brings you so far. What is it that your agents do that others don't that made them successful?
Yeah. We've got a good program that's got a few pillars and foundations to it. I mean, obviously, the beginning starts with, discipline, right? You have to understand the baseline of sales and lead generation is discipline. It's a lot of input equals a lot of output, plain and simple. It's a numbers game, right?
Right.
So as long as you have that realization and have the rude awakening that, hey, if I'm in sales, I'm gonna have to work pretty hard, right? Uh, that's the realization. That's step number one. And then step number two is how do you work smart and not hard, right? Um, you have to take a look at your budget, start there. Do you have a budget at all? Do you have $1,000, a 10,000, $100,000 budget, right? And you can be successful within each one of those, but they all require varying levels of difficulty because money is a tool for leverage, right? If you have more money, you have more leverage, right? But that doesn't mean that um, you can't use other strategies that may be a little bit higher leverage, right? So one of the
Mm.
things that we taught inside of our program was how to use strategic partnerships. Okay. This could be reaching out to a local CPA, working with business attorneys. This could be some of our most successfuls came from YouTubers, right? Reaching out to YouTubers to create content. How do
Right.
you use other people's audiences to be able to get higher leverage, right? So
Mhm.
you can leverage if you don't have money. Well, guess who has money? The processor or the
Right.
ISO office
Mhm.
that is willing to give a bonus or willing to give residuals. You can leverage other people's money and be able to say, hey, Mr. Influencer, uh, I have this specific offer for you. Every deal, you're going to get X percentage. And some people want to work with you within that model for free. Other people want, some sort of compensation. But there are opportunities for you to be able to leverage those types of relationships to create an opportunity of consistent inbound lead generation for you.
That's a really interesting point. That I think it's newer leveraging influencers, let's say, that I think a lot of payments people haven't gotten to yet. But I love how you tie this into leverage. You can take the promise of future income, future payment, and leverage that into a relationship that you couldn't have paid for upfront necessarily, right?
Sure.
And and really build that channel going forward.
hmm Yeah, absolutely. Some of those strategic relationships can be fairly large. There's a lot of corporate companies with,
Mm.
existing books of business, and clients. I mean, if you look at the biggest names in the industry like Toast and Touch Bistro and some of the big players, specifically in the card present POS space, and you start looking at some of the backlinks that these guys have that go to their website, it's going
Mhm.
to show you very, very quickly where else are they listed online, right? And if you go and, for example, just off the top of my head, there's a an online marketplace called Webstaurant Store, and it's an online marketplace where restaurant owners go buy things in bulk. It's like an Amazon for restaurant owners, right?
Mhm.
And if you go down to partners, guess who's listed inside of their referral
Mhm.
network, right? So those types of things, we have set up relationships like that in the past on behalf of other brands like
Mhm.
Shift4, right? We're one of premier partners with Shift4. We're one of the top ISO offices in the country for their SkyTab product. And
Mhm.
we have leveraged relationships with online publications, influencers, et cetera, on behalf of Shift4 using our own landing pages, et cetera, to collect inbound lead generation through those types of relationships.
And that's where the marketing expertise and that background really shines there
Right.
because it's, a level of technical detail that you need someone telling you these things because it's not immediately obvious that this is what's going to drive leads for me. Backlinks to, marketplace sites. It's a lot of research that goes into that and expertise. I mean, again, it's proving the point that yeah, maybe going with the sales office that has a lot of expertise in this is the right way to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that makes sense. And I mean, there's other traditional formats. I mean, other things that we taught inside of the program, obviously, are the traditional stuff, right?
Mhm.
Is door-to-door relationship building. That's going to be the best thing. You know, if you're going out, again, it takes a very specific type of person to be in the space doing door-to-door. I mean, it's either part of your DNA or it's surely not, right?
Yeah.
And if it is, then, every single time you go out to a restaurant, there's an opportunity to sell, right?
Mhm.
Is sitting down at that restaurant and saying, hey, give me the best experience possible. And maybe you pay an extra $100, but you may end up speaking to the chef or to the owner, or striking up a conversation with the person at the end of the bar that may be, the operator of the business, right? So if you look at it that way, and for example, if you go and become a regular at a place, you'll find that, for example, if you go eat somewhere 10 times and it costs you $150, that's our customer acquisition costs.
Right,
But I bet you on
right.
the 10th time, they're going to know who your name and who you are and what you like to eat. And if you do that really a lot over the 1, 2 months, you may pick up a location that, yields you a couple grand a month in residual.
Yeah, and it makes sense. And I was just talking to uh a founder of a big ISO that does now, about $5 billion in payments volume. And that is exactly their business model. He built it from nothing to this massive ISO. And that's all they do is they get into their communities, they eat at the restaurants, they get the business. So I
Yep,
mean, it's not like this is just for small scale agents. You can actually scale that model into something really big.
that's
Uh,
right.
and I don't think it's limited either to, you know, restaurants, right? If you think creatively about this, it's any network that you're involved in. Go be with people that you know, and
That's right.
opportunities will arise, whatever that is.
That's
Um,
right.
and okay, so you've built this ISO of 150 agents, you've duct taped solutions, and I think that's really important, right? Is you're focusing on, hey, it may be duct taped together, but at least we have very clear solutions for each merchant that's coming in the door. They're white labeled. What prompted you to move on from that and say, I still think something's broken here. We can do this better.
Yeah, definitely. So when we were boarding a lot of deals on Maverick, um, they were mainly deals that were being, again, this whole idea of strategic partnerships. I was in a few different masterminds for online coaches,
Mhm.
and very often the payment processing question was coming up. Well, who are you using? Hey, I just got kicked off of Stripe. Um, Stripe has a very thin risk profile for online high ticket
High ticket.
solutions.
Mhm.
And it's really the high ticket element that really scares them at scale, right? And so we were part of a few communities. One of them specifically was around funding and credit repair. And obviously, those are pretty high risk, and those are difficult to place as well. And we started doing a lot of deals at Maverick, and we realized, hey, this process is a little slow compared to, what you could get with Stripe. You go sign up in 5 minutes, and then you could process, if not later that afternoon or instantly, right?
Mhm.
And we were finding that we it was taking us somewhere around 3 days to 3 weeks to
Ooh,
get anyone approved
yeah.
for a merchant account.
Hmm.
And there was a lot of demand, but there was a lot of effort that needed to be put in on our end in order to even board an account. And once we got the account boarded, most of the times the people didn't even want it anymore because it took so long because they
Right.
had already gone to three other places because they needed somewhere to sign up instantly.
Hmm.
So we realized, and this is when Go High Level was really coming up as a CRM as well, and we realized that there was an opportunity for integration there
Hmm.
using NMI and API keys and whatnot. But the biggest blocker was the onboarding process, right? it was just a big lag and delay on onboarding. And I was wanting to develop my own platform for some time. I knew, and again, I had big ambitions. I said, man, if I'm going to be in this payment processing industry, I was like, I might as well go after the Goliath, right? And that was
Yeah.
Stripe. So I
Yeah.
read the book.
The biggest one out there.
Yeah, I,
Yeah.
I I read the book Choose Your Enemies Wisely by Patrick Bet David. And I was like, and in that book, it says it was like you gotta pick an enemy that's so much bigger than you could possibly even think you could take down, that even if you make it halfway, you're gonna be like miles ahead of everybody else, right?
Right.
Because realistically, it's like if I get into this game and I'm like, I just want to be the best ISO office out there, it's like, okay, well, sure, maybe you get to, a quarter million a month in residuals or a couple million a month in residuals. But like the real game is in having that enterprise value and being able to exit, right?
Right.
I mean, your prime example, you guys built an amazing office at Payment Cloud, and then you had that enterprise value that you could then sell um, to, I believe it was EMS, and you guys are kind of like they're the sales arm now for EMS, really,
Hmm.
right? And there's a lot of value in that. And I just didn't see myself being able to scale what I was doing unless I built something that was in the SaaS space and software. And I also, being that I'm an online coach and educator, um, I was always um, listening, reading, and learning as much as I could from like James Shepard, CC Sales Pro. Obviously, he's like the OG in the space when it comes to education. And he kept talking a lot about vertically integrated SaaS,
Hmm.
and that kept coming up a lot. And for for where I see things going, his sort of philosophy with the integration piece was very intriguing to me because I was wanting to be more in the software space, being that I was developing this sort of like invoicing payment suite
Hmm.
for the online coaching space, right? So I figured, okay, this industry is really difficult. Okay, who is really doing it in this space? Okay, here's Go High Level for an example, vertically integrated SaaS processing.
Hmm.
If I could just get a way to board somebody same day to be able to connect it to Go High Level, I was like, I got like a million people here that use
Yeah.
Go High Level. I was like, I
Right.
just need 1% of these people to like really blow this thing up.
Hmm.
And then as I started to research more about strategic partnerships, I realized one of the reasons why Stripe grew to be the Goliath that it is because of the strategic partnerships that they've been able to curate
Hmm.
around vertically integrated SaaS, right?
Right. Right.
And they go to every software company and they say, do you want payments integrated into your platform? Everybody already has payments um, online as an online business owner by using Stripe. So if you want to integrate payments into your product or you want more people to use your product within their ecosystem, well, then you should integrate with Stripe, right? And a lot
Hmm.
of people main products, and I run across them a lot. Our VP of infrastructure here, she talks to a lot of ISVs that don't even know that they can monetize payments, right?
Hmm.
So that was sort of like where the combination was between where we were and where we were going. And that really drove us to want to develop something that was more focused on, vertically integrated software, right? So having that big grand idea of, hey, I'm going to go and compete against the largest, potential competitor out there really
Yeah.
set us to be hungry in the space. And since then, the product has and roadmap has evolved into something that we truly have a shot to go up against the Stripes of the world.
Right. And that's a great story. I mean, you by setting your sights high, you've built a platform that operates like them and has the efficiencies that they have, but can operate in a niche that maybe they can't, right? So you're bringing efficiencies from here mainstream into someone who doesn't have it, and that's how you take over a vertical, right? And then
That's right.
expand from it. And I think that's genius because this is what you have to do to set yourself apart right now. And how does that look maybe from a, you know, I know you do work with some partners, maybe not traditional agent ISO partners so much, but you're going into ISVs that maybe want to operate like an ISO. And so how does that look from that perspective? Where are you teaching them? Like, is there a process where they have to learn about how
Sure.
payments operate, how they can make money from it? Hey man, you're on Stripe. You're making very little right now. Here's how you can make more, but let's learn about this kind of thing.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So our philosophy is, no payments professional left behind. So, we've built something called Lumino Legacy, which is our legacy traditional processing rail portal.
Oh, love that.
And it's sort of the bridge between Lumino, the ISO office, and
Hmm.
Lumino, the software payments stack, right?
Okay.
Lumino Legacy is best in class online portal, best in class, like the Ferrari of merchant applications,
Hmm.
um, as close to instant onboarding as possible with the select partners and partner banks. Um, you know, from a POS perspective, we sell Clover, SumUp, SkyTab, PAX devices,
Hmm.
Illumino devices, and all of those have us close to real-time, near-time onboarding. Obviously, you're dealing with atoms, physical products. You got to ship them. They got to get there. They got to get the
Yep.
menu installed. They got to program,
Hmm.
process. Um, but realistically, what we want to do is we're payments first professionals. I was an agent and an ISO for 5 years before even thinking about building my own stuff, right?
Hmm.
Um, our CEO, Zachary Godfrey, co-founder with me, he has been in the industry for about 25 years. So
Wow.
he's built multiple sales offices in the past, multiple portfolios and books of businesses, sold them to third parties or Shift4 or a bunch of other different solutions. And so we know how to cater towards strategic partners, like I mentioned, to
Hmm.
agents, to ISO offices that want to have agents and sub-agents. So we've created this entire partner network within the Lumino ecosystem that still serves the legacy stacks, right? We have
Yep.
an amazing residuals engine that you can see your residuals in real time as they
Mhm.
come in from all these different partners. You're getting transparency in terms of reporting. You're getting on-time payouts. They go into a Lumino wallet, so you can just request your payouts whenever you want. You're not at the mercy of, when am I going to get paid? When I gotta call my ISO office every single month to make sure that, that the residual is going to hit. So that's really like we want to make sure that there's such a demand still for
Yep.
these types of legacy products, and people want to keep selling them. So we want to make sure that traditional ISO offices and agents can continue to sell those, but sell those in an elevated format by providing them resources, training, continuous improvement and guides, partnering with additional ISO offices to be able to provide, again, right? Obviously, everything that I learned from the coaching space, we've transitioned into this as well. So we have a robust training platform and knowledge base, articles. We have like ISO playbook that gets people started very, very quickly. And again, we partner from, you know, agents that just want to sell and sell really well to ISO offices that just want to train, recruit, hire. And we want to make it as turnkey as possible. And that again translates as well to the ISV side. So, you know, with where we're headed with Lumino 2.0,
Hmm.
again, think we're competing with Stripe, right? A Stripe type product.
Hmm.
So we've got, multiple PayFacs set up with some of the best processors in the industry that allow us to build a platform that is, first for our merchants, right?
Hmm.
We're building a product that essentially the top five issues and objections and rebuttals that they've had, we're going up against. Same day onboarding. They want to be able to get processing the same day and get going fast.
Yeah.
They want access to invoicing, dual pricing, rewards functionalities, things of that nature, all in one tool, right? Most merchants, they don't want to log in to 4 or 5 different portals. And that's
Right.
kind of where the industry is at and where I was at, right? It was
Right.
white label from start to finish. But remember, I named 4 different things in that
Yeah.
stack, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So for us, it's like we just want one portal and then to be able to help those merchants monetize their ability to refer business to us as well, right? So, if
Hmm.
you're a merchant, typically, it's difficult to maintain a merchant and turn them into a referral partner. But with our software, the goal is to make that very, very streamlined, where they can see and track all the leads that they submit, et cetera. Right. So this makes it very easy for merchants to be able to board and then eventually going into the ISV market, right? And for ISVs to realize how that they can monetize payments.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that's what's really going to set us apart long term with some of the short term competitors that we're going after. That's one of the greatest things about that book, as it talks about, you can have that Goliath to go after, but there's always going to be that short term competitor that's in your league that you want to go after, that you want to go against, right? So, I won't say specifically who those two competitors are, but
Right.
we're going after them in the coaching space, and we're going to
Okay.
be planting our flag, and that just starts with building a better product that people want to use,
Yeah.
and building a better partner platform that makes it easy for our partners to be able to sell with resources, guides, knowledge base articles, and just a support system here that, coming from a payments background, I know what agents and ISOs want, and that's what we're providing with our systems.
Yeah, I think, you touch on many good points there. First of which is that you're not a technology guy that came into payments and are building what you think they should have. You're a payments guy that came into technology. So you know exactly what to build to make that experience work for them, right?
Yep.
To guide even the legacy ISOs, the legacy agents into this new era of solutions and ISV management and help the ISVs who don't know anything about payments get into the payments game as well. I think it's brilliant.
Thank you. I
Um,
appreciate it.
to end, I think any advice? What do you have to end with for agents and ISOs listening? I think we've got a lot of gems in here, a lot of good information for them to go forward with. But what would be your closing remark?
Yeah. Man, I the number one thing I would say is don't give up, because I didn't sell a deal for like the first 6 months that I was in this industry.
Right. Right. You
And I
said
was
you
like,
got your yes,
yeah,
yeah.
I was like, is something wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. This is a very difficult industry.
Mhm.
And I would suggest start with your power base. Grant Cardone talks about this in one of his books. Start with your power base. Make the list of the top 10. Alex Hormozy says the top 100 people in your contact list,
Okay.
and just go through every single person. And if they own a business, ask them to be patient with you and to just do an audit of what they're doing with their business and try to find a mentor in this industry. That is critical as well. So there's a lot of pitfalls that can happen in this space. So try to find a mentor that can guide you through it and that has the patience to really give you an opportunity in this space. A lot of people don't. So find a mentor, don't give up. And again, use your power base, use the network that you have around you to leverage getting your first couple deals. Because I'll tell you what, once I started getting one turned into two turned into two a week, and then it turned into 75, 100, 150 deals a month. So, um, it's payments is a snowball. Just keep stacking, and you'll be just fine.
Love that. Thank you, Giorgio. Appreciate the time. And anyone who's interested in learning more about Lumino, where should they find you?
Yeah, they can go to our website, lumino.io or golumino.com.
All right. Thank you, Giorgio. Appreciate
Awesome.
having
Thank you,
you on the
Michael.
podcast. Thanks for the
Appreciate
time.
being here.
All
Thank
right.
you.